All right, so we can get started. Hello, Graham. Welcome. Thank you for joining us from the beginning, and we hope you like the other sessions, and we are, of course, looking forward to yours as well.
That's great. Thanks, Oana. And look, thank you so much, everybody, for staying till the end of the day. You know what? The ACE program saved the best till last. So thank you for hanging in with us. It's been a fantastic event, the very first Oracle ACE virtual conference. And if you're just joining the call just for this session, then this is the Oracle ACE Virtual Conference 2024. And hopefully we'll be sharing some insights into OCI Synthetic Monitoring and how you can use it to better monitor your applications. My name is Graham Smith. I head up the PeopleSoft technology team at version 1, and I'm a solution architect with that group as well. I'm an Oracle ACE director, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a motorcycling fanatic, and I love my job working in OCI and with PeopleSoft and Oracle technology. Like I said, I'm a motorcycling fanatic, and you might recognize Dunkirk Harbor there. I take my bike all over Europe most years. And that link there, YouTube video, you'll get the deck for this, I imagine. Just go to my YouTube channel. I actually did some interesting project with my son one Christmas a couple of years ago, where we attached some IoT devices to my bike and transmitted the data up to Oracle Cloud to control PeopleSoft systems in the cloud using geofencing around my workplace. So it was a fun little project, taught my son some programming, and I learned some stuff too as well. Anyway, a little bit about me. In case you're just joining us, this is an event run by the ACE program. And if you don't know about the ACE program, we're just a bunch of Oracle technology fanatics who love to learn about technology and share what we learn. That is at the heart of what we do, and it's about building and strengthening the Oracle community. Let me paint a scenario for you. I used to work in support. When I was 16 years old, it was one of my first jobs. Phone would ring, I'd answer the call, and a user might tell me a problem that they had with the system. So here's our user in blue on the left. They're going to try and log into the system, whatever system that happens to be, some web application, and oh dear me, they get an error. This page isn't working. If the problem continues, contact the site owner. Well, they're going to call support, of course. I'm the support analyst. They go and call me. I don't know why I chose an icon with a crown, but I get why support analysts are king, I guess. So anyway, they call the support desk, and the support desk does what? What does the support analyst do? The user's just phoned in and said, I can't log into my system. What does the support analyst do? Well, guess what? They try themselves to log into the system. And if you've worked in support, you know this is standard default procedure. A customer says, I can't log into the system. I'm going to try and log into the system to make sure it works. And guess what? It's working for me. The most annoying and frustrating thing that an end user can hear from the support analyst is, oh, well, it's working for me. What's your problem? Very, very annoying, very frustrating. And that's the scenario that we're going to try and handle with OCI Synthetic Monitoring. So let's just talk about stack monitoring for a moment. This session isn't about OCI stack monitoring, but you know what? We all do it. So I've got a kind of example system here. It's got a web application firewall, a load balancer, a couple of web servers, some application servers, and a database server, but it can be anything. And we're using some standard monitoring tools within OCI, or maybe it's not OCI, but you're doing some standard monitoring to ask fundamental questions about, is a component running or not? So is the server up or is it down? Is the program that's running on that server up or down? So has WebLogic crashed, or has WebLogic been shut down for patching, or is there one part of the stack that has failed in some way or is down for maintenance? Now, in my little example here, everything's green except one component. And our monitoring systems would detect that the web server on the right, that's WebLogic, is down, might be down for any number of reasons. And that level of monitoring is absolutely vital to do. That monitoring is like the oil light that comes on your dashboard in your car, and it tells you you've got a problem with low oil. Will the car stop working? No, it won't. It just keeps going. Well, it'll go for a while, and then it might blow up. But it's a kind of warning signal. And this kind of monitoring is really, really important. This monitoring is not what this session is about. But I just wanted to call out OCI stack monitoring. That's another presentation. And essentially what stack monitoring is doing is testing components. But really the big question here is the stack is running, but is the service to the user still available? Now, in this example, the load balancer has detected that the web server on the right is down, and it's redirected all new traffic to the one on the left. So is the service still functioning? Well, yes, it is. So the service is not down, but I've got a fault somewhere. Let's take a quick look at a kind of a world view here. So I've got a user who's phoned in. We know they've phoned in and they've said, I can't access this system. But guess what? They're in Australia. So they're over there on the right in Australia. They've got a connectivity problem. I'm a support analyst. I'm based in the UK, or maybe I'm in Spain, and the connectivity there is absolutely fine. So of course, when I try and log in as a support analyst, it's working. But for the poor guy in Australia, it's not working, even though the stack is okay, albeit got one component missing. So this is the scenario that we're looking at. There's a quick screen grab of OCI stack monitoring. Like I say, that's another presentation. So what is synthetic monitoring? We have to go to the dictionary to get a good definition here. I happen to be using the Oxford Languages Dictionary here. There's two definitions. Synthetic. Of a substance, it is to imitate a natural product. So, nylon, for example, is synthetic. It's to imitate a natural product, maybe imitating cotton. But where this definition really works for us is in logic. So in logic, it is determining whether something is true or false by recourse to experience. So go and try something, and in trying it, tell us whether it's true or false. So how does this play out with our use case and synthetic monitoring? So here, just a reminder, here's our system. We've got a fault between Australia and the web application firewall, and UK and Spain is fine. So here's our use case. Now, our use case, I just happen to be using PeopleSoft here, Oracle's PeopleSoft application as an example, but you could be using eBusiness Suite, JD Edwards, or any other web-based application, and we'll find beyond web as well. You can use other things too. So here's our use case. Firstly, I'm going to get access to the login page. That's step one. Get access to the login page. I'm going to check, how do I know I've arrived at the login page? Well, as a human, I can look at this and I can see the title, Oracle PeopleSoft Sign In. It's there, top left in the tab. I can check to see if that page title is there. If it is, I've arrived at the sign-on page. I can then enter some credentials. So I can enter my user ID, my password, and then I hit the sign in button. That's step 3. It then logs me into the PeopleSoft application, and this is kind of what it looks like when you arrive in PeopleSoft if you've never seen that before. And I'm going to perform a fourth operation, which is to check, have I logged in successfully? So there I am, top left-hand corner. The title's changed. It now says homepage, because that's where I am. So if I can see homepage up there, I can assume that I've arrived at the homepage. And finally, I'm going to log out. Now, that's a transaction that if I can synthesize that transaction and then just repeat it over and over and over again, whenever it fails, I'll know there's a problem logging into the system. The user won't have to call up support to tell them they can't log into the system. Support will already know. And that's the whole point of synthetic monitoring. So what can we use to devise a script that will automatically log in to my application? So in OCI, synthetic monitoring, Selenium scripts and Postman scripts are both supported. Selenium stores scripts in JSON, created by the Selenium interactive development environment, and Postman creates scripts using JavaScript. You can handwrite these, or you can use the IDE tools to create them. I'm going to use Selenium as my tool, and here's the Selenium IDE workbench here. And I'm just going to break down my synthetic transaction again. So before we saw the actual transaction, now here it is synthesized in a script. So step 1, open up the home page to log in. I'm going to assert the title. So I'm going to test the title. Does it match Oracle PeopleSoft sign-in? And then I'm going to supply my credentials. And yet before anybody says that is my password I'm using in this demo, my name, and I've used my name deliberately because I wouldn't possibly have used my real name as a password in any system. And so impossibly it's wrong. So yeah, so supply the credentials and hit the enter key or log in. And then I've got my fourth test, which is to assert the title again. Have I arrived at a page that has the title equal to home page? If I have, we're okay. And then I'm going to log out. So there's my script. Very, very simple script. I could actually engineer the script to test for anything. And I don't know if you noticed, I'll just go back quickly. I've logged into PeopleSoft here, but can you see that third tile across the top there? It's got an error in it. I could actually synthesize a transaction to test that content of that dynamic tile passed a test as well. So we can script anything that we can script with HTTP. We can script in Selenium or Postman. So I've got some videos for anybody who downloads this deck, but I've got a live demo. So let me go into, here's my PeopleSoft system. This is an actual functioning system. So I'm going to type in my user ID, going to type in my password, and I'm going to log in. And there we go, I'm logged in. And then I'm going to sign out. So there's my synthesized transaction. It's not mimicking it, it's real. I've actually just done it. So let's execute the script. So let me power up. I'm in Google Chrome here, but you can do this in pretty much any browser. I'll open up the Selenium workbench. I've already loaded it up just to save a bit of time here. And there's my open the login page, assert the title, click the user ID field down here, supply my password and my user ID, send keys, enter, which is hit that button down here, assert the title from my home page, and then log out. So we can go and execute this. So let me run the script, and you'll see on the left, it prepares to run the script. There it is logging in, and there it is logging out. And we can do that again. Logging in, arrives at the home page, and then we log out. And I can do it again. And I can keep doing it over and over and over again. Well, I don't want to sit here doing that. That's pretty boring. Let's get a machine to do it. Synthetic monitoring in OCI. So let's go back. Oh, sorry, something I wanted to show you. If I go and edit the script, and I'll just put something false in there like XXXX. So the home page title clearly doesn't match that. So if you run this, what happens is it will evaluate the home page and it will error. I actually did error it at the wrong place there. Let me do that again. Yeah, there we go. So it asserts the title and it fails. And why has it failed? Well, it's failed because the title up here says homepage, but I was looking for homepage XXXX. So if we get a false response, we can evaluate it and take some action. So let's go back to our slides. So I'm just going to skip over this because this is just a video recording in case the live demo didn't work, but it'll be there if you download the deck. So let's get into OCI Synthetic Monitoring. First thing to say is it's not called synthetic monitoring anymore. If you read all the documentation online in Oracle, it says synthetic monitoring. But if you go looking for synthetic monitoring in the OCI console, you won't find it because it's now called availability monitoring. Not quite sure why. I think availability monitoring is actually a subset of synthetic monitoring, but we can argue semantics. Just don't go looking for synthetic monitoring in your OCI menu. You won't find it. It's called availability monitoring. And it's part of the application performance monitoring framework, which is part of observability and management. How do we get this set up in OCI? Step one, we create an APM domain. We create an application performance monitoring domain. As soon as you do that, unless you're using the always free tier, it's going to start costing you money. I'm not going to talk about money in this session. I'm using the always free. You can see it there. I've called my domain APM domain V1 APM test. Secondly, you upload your script. So there's there's a fragment of the JSON from my Selenium script. We upload that, and that's now registered in the repository. And now I can create the next thing, which is to create the monitor. I now define the monitor, the thing that's going to perpetually keep logging into my application and tell me if there's ever a problem. So we give it a name, a sensible name. We specify the script that we've just uploaded. In this case, that's the name of my script. We also specify what type of test we're going to do. Now, in this instance, it's a scripted browser test, but there are a bunch of other tests you could do. You could do a REST call if it was an API that you were testing, or it could be you're testing a DNS resolution. And in the last few months, Oracle have added SQL and FTP to the list of synthetic monitoring types that you can do. So I specify my base URL and a few other parameters, which we haven't got time to get into. And then the next step is to define a vantage point. Now, remember our use case. Australia users can't log in, but my UK and Spain users can. I just logged into the system. I'm in the UK, works for me. That's not what our Australia colleagues want to hear. So when we have OCI execute our synthetic script, we want it to execute in all the locations that we care about. So this is called a vantage point. You can create a dedicated vantage point that's your own, or you can use one of the delivered vantage points that are supplied as part and parcel of the OCI Synthetic Monitoring service. So here's the next step in our definition of the synthetic monitor. We specify our vantage points, and here I've specified Australia East, Sydney, and Spain Central. And every OCI region that is out there has a set of vantage points that you can just specify. Now, I'm using free tier here. With the free tier of synthetic monitoring and APM, I'm restricted to the number of executions I can do in an hour. So I think the limit is 10. I've got 2 vantage points. For each vantage point, each monitor executes 3 executions per cycle. So the most I can do in an hour is 1 every 30 minutes. So then I specify the interval that I want to test this for. But of course, if this were a real production system, I might be having this run every minute or every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever. So we define our vantage points, we define our intervals that we're going to execute on, and that's it. We save and let it go. And the result of running the scripts are that I get access to a dashboard containing all the metrics from the results of this. So here's just a snapshot from, I think it was actually earlier today that I took this snapshot. And can you see here the total number of runs? I've got a bar that says that's a load of greens and a bar that's a load of reds. So if it's red, it's a failure. And you can see up here, Australia East has always failed. Spain actually was largely successful, but there were some failures. But look where the failures were. The failures in Spain were actually at between 8 o'clock in the evening and 7 o'clock in the morning. Like most OCI users, we shut our non-production system down at night. So of course our monitoring is going to fail. So that's absolutely fine. So I mean, the best thing to do is go and look at a demo of this. So let me drop into a live demo here. So here's exactly the same graph here, showing for the last 24 hours, we can see these failures. Now I'm running just one monitor, one script, but you could be running dozens and dozens of them. So let me go and drill into one of these scripts that's running. Here's my login monitor that's been running, and you'll see I've got a history log of every execution of the script. So there's the last time it ran at 6:01, so that was just 20 minutes ago, and it was successful. There was one run from Australia East in Sydney. That was also at the same time, because we told it to execute both executions from both vantage points at the same time, and it errored. And why did it error? It timed out. So we can drill into one of these. I'll drill into the successful one, and I'll go and view screenshots. Now, it also captures a HTML archive as well. So this is an in-depth logging of each individual HTTP request and response. It's very, very detailed. If you need it to provide to your level 2 support analysts to go and troubleshoot a problem, then it's there. But the screenshots are also handy. So let me drill into the screenshots for this successful test. And there's 3 screenshots. There's the screenshot of me logging in. And there's the screenshot of me successfully having logged in. And there's the resulting screenshot of me logging out. Now I can use Selenium or Postman to inject my own custom screenshots. So if I wanted to go somewhere after I've logged in to go and test something, I can take a snapshot at any point in time of the screen and have synthetic monitoring record it. That is synthetic monitoring. And I will just go back to here, sorry. I've included other screenshots from the synthetic monitoring dashboard. So here's an example of a system outage. You can see here, these are all successful tests, and then suddenly, boom, it dropped out for a whole hour and we lost it. Of course, you can tie all of this into the alerting framework within OCI. So your support teams can get SMS messages or integrate with your Slack or Teams channels to notify, or email to notify them there's been a problem. We've just seen a live demo of that and the screenshots. Here's another really useful feature of synthetic monitoring. It's a click breakdown. Now, in our use case, there are a number of clicks. There's a click to load the page. There's a click to log in. There's a click to log out. Each individual click is measured and monitored and is individually plotted on a chart that I can visually see and download as a grid. So you can see here that the execution times of each individual click is pretty consistent until at 8 o'clock in the evening, we shut all the systems down. And then at 6 o'clock in the morning, we start all the systems back up again. But look at the clicks. They're a little bit unpredictable for the first hour of the day while the system kind of stabilizes and the caches warm up. But if that was all over the place constantly, then even though the service might be available, I can instantly see, there's a problem. And I can use this not just to tell me when the system's down, but when the system might be starting to perform badly and get early warning signs that there might be a problem looming. That has been application monitoring with OCI Synthetic Monitoring. They're my details, my blog link there, and my LinkedIn post and email address. Thank you so much for listening and for your attention this evening. Actually, it's evening for me. It's dark outside. It's 6:30 in the evening here in the UK. So enjoy the rest of your day if it's morning for you. Thank you,
Graham. Well, I'm glad that we see so much great feedback now at the end. Thank you, everyone, for staying with us. I see that there are no questions in the Q&A, but don't be shy. We still have time for one last question, if anyone has anything to ask. If not, we would like to thank you for joining us for our first Oracle ACE virtual conference. We hope that you filled out the survey to let us know your feedback. We would love to host more conferences for you in the future if that is what you need. And again, a big thank you to all our amazing speakers. Many of us, them stayed with us until the end. We do hope that we've gotten you to know the Oracle ACE program better with this conference, what it means to be an ACE. You got to know some of the ACEs. And of course, we hope to see you in our communities on LinkedIn. I hope you will follow us on social media. And if there are any questions you would like to ask us, again, you can always email us or find us on social media and ask.